everybody, how's it going? Ooh, that's a light. So while I'm chatting with you guys, I am cooking. So you're gonna see me stir off that away, because that's where my... Stop it. Do not blow over. I'm a lousy cook. But it's edible. And it fills my belly, so I'm good with it. Just turn this down. I'm about to let it explode. So I've got a few van life things to update you on. To start off with, probably the big header that drew you in is my MrHeater Little Buddy. So it's the one that kind of looks like a gun. Yeah, not so much. Not so much. It pretty much copped out on me. According to the experts who took a look at it, probably the thermocouple. Some tiny little metal tubing thingy in there that just didn't like the grief I put it through. So, it quit on me. But to be fair, that device is designed to be taken out camping 2 or 3 times a year, to be packed nicely among sleeping bags, and to only last like maybe 2 years. It's not designed for van life. Now, take into account that van life includes falling over. It fell over at least 4 times, because you would turn it off because it has to cool, because it can't sit next to things while it's super duper hot, right? So you turn it off and it's standing in the middle of the van, and then I'd forget that I'm cooling and that it's standing there, and I would go drive, and you'd hear ka-thump. Oh, man. But ka-thump is van life. That would be why our dishes are plastic and not glass. Absolutely everything in the van is going to ka-thump at some point or other. This is reality. I don't feel bad about it. It's van life. Little Buddy is not designed to go ka-thump. Couldn't tag it. So, yeah, he bit the dust on me, and that was that. So I gave him to a friend of mine to see if he could fix him. Don't know how that's gonna turn out. I upgraded. Hold on, we're about to boil over again. So we're making noodles with added spinach and kale. I'll explain that in a minute. So we, for heating, we've had to downgrade, upgrade, whatever, change grades to these. I have 3 of them. I run 3 of them. They provide enough heat. It's not super comfy heat. It's absolutely not sweltering, sweating, thinking that you're in a sauna heat, not by any stretch of the imagination. But if you let them run, they do get very hot, which is a good thing, because it heats up the air around it. It takes them a good hour to get hot. It's not like a, oh, Ted, oh no. Yeah, no. These take a while to heat up, and then it takes even longer to keep the space. So, they're good for a night in the van, where you're chillaxing and in my case, crocheting and reading, and you're gonna be there for a few hours before you climb into bed. These suffice-ish, but they're what I got. They're working enough. And it's like the universe took pity on me. We have a warm snap for a week or two, so enjoy that while I can. Still just trying to do my best to save up, get in the hours, save up, get that wood stove. That, because the entire sucker will be nailed into place, it's not going to thump. Once it's screwed and nailed into place, if that thumps, well, we get to go back to the guy who helped me put it back in. And I like the wood stove idea, we're not there yet, is because the fuel doesn't off-gas. It's wood. I have wood already, it's not off-gassing. It can sit there in a big old pile in my van, and I don't have to worry about it. It can sit there for weeks, months, years, hours, and I don't have to worry about it. Unlike the propane canisters, which kind of freaked me out, because they were stinky. They were actually stinky. I kind of kept them out of the way, and thank goodness I have lots of airflow in here, but even just the canisters sitting there were stinky. So, I'm kind of grateful that they're gone. Like, I miss the instant heat, but I'm kind of grateful that they're gone. So instead, I run the stove, run the main van heater first thing in the morning. Helps warm up the space so you can, actually get out and get dressed. And actually, just running my little one-burner stove to boil a pot of water or cook up some noodles, which is what I'm doing now, warms up the space beautifully. Probably because of all this awesome insulation. It warms up the space nicely, and I'm comfortable for a good hour afterwards before it cools down. So, as for the whole, oh my goodness, CO, carbon monoxide, make sure you crack open the windows in the... Okay, I think you all are remembering and thinking of your own nice vehicles that are fresh from the manufacturer, where the window, the stuff around the doors actually seals them shut when they shut, where the windows actually seal shut, where, you actually could fart in there and smell it for days. Yeah, Frank, not so much, folks. Frank, not so much. We now no longer rain on the bed. We no longer rain through the back door. But we have holes even in the side doors. Even with the insulation on them, because they have to open and close, they have holes. I close my doors, I look down, and I can see the ground, and I can see the air, like the sunlight, poking up from underneath my van. Not to mention the holes up front. My van breathes. I fart in my van, you can't tell half an hour later. So, and I do have, just to make everybody feel better, I spent $30 and got a CO monitor, and it doesn't say boo. I'm doing okay, CO. Like, the whole CO argument is moot. It's fine. Sorry, we're about to test a noodle. Hold on. Turn that off. See if I can convince So, now I get to show you the other new thing. I have, as I look away from the camera, Thrive Life food. Oh, my eating has improved like 100% in this. So, these can sit in my van for like ever and not go bad. No cooler involved. Mm-hmm. No ice, no electricity, none of that crap. It just sits there. So here's a piece of spinach. I'm going to put some more spinach in there to absorb some water. So it comes to me all dried out. There's no moisture in it, which is why it doesn't go bad. So I can slowly go through this. There's no rush to finish this can. I think they say some of these are 5 years once the can's been popped. I wouldn't, but technically. There's nothing, no moisture in it, so the germs can't grow, can't thrive, whatever. Now, I would not put what happens in my van up for stats, because I boil water and the moisture floats and warms up yeah, right. But it's not going bad in the next month. It sits there, which is awesome. I'm actually, I don't know if you totally can't. There's hardly any left, and I just got it like less than a week ago. I'm loving the greens. So right now I'm just kind of sprinkling it in the pot. Here, let me show you. Yeah. No light. Anyway. Sprinkled it in the pot with some water in there. Because it is freeze-dried, it sucks up the moisture to revitalize, right? Which is awesome for, someone like me who overdoes water and overdoes a lot of stuff. I don't need cornstarch to thicken up my sauces. I throw in some vegetables. Oh yeah. I throw in the healthy vegetables, and it absorbs the water, and it is fantastic. And I don't have to worry about the spinach going bad in my cooler if I don't eat it within 48 hours, which is pretty much what it seems to real food lasts in my cooler, is 48 hours before I get nervous about it. So suddenly, my diet has opened up to spinach and kale and green peppers and onions and corn and I got so many other things in here. I got chicken. And whenever anyone's like a little nervous about whether or not it tastes decent, did I finish them? Oh no, there's a couple left. So anytime someone is like, oh no, that's really not really good stuff, and I give them one of these. It's a strawberry. It is the best strawberry you've ever tasted. They taste like candy. They're fantastic. Strawberries. Oh. So, I'll upload this right away, but I will come back to it and put my Thrive Life thingy in the description, so if you ever feel like you'd like to, you can go ahead and go on there and order some food. I love it because it sits on the side, it doesn't even have to go in the cooler, and it's healthy food that's not going bad. I don't need to buy ice, none of that. It's great. I love it. You know what? I think that's pretty much it. I talked to you about the heating, talked to you about Thrive Food. Nah. The only other thing I got rolling around in my head is lately I've been learning about empowerment and coming to realize that my van life journey is pretty much me embracing and going through the process of empowerment. When I was sick, I lost all power, all control. Like, not only of my surroundings, but I lost control of my own body. I lost control of my own mind. Like, there was nothing that I had power over. And I sat there realizing that the loss of power over my body was a dang good representation of the loss of power I had over my life. How I had repeatedly and consistently given my power to other people. To the point where nowadays I struggle to even explain to people what I would like. I always go based on what they would like and how I can adapt to it and how I can make it palatable to myself. So that's a good sign of where I was at. And this van and taking this van and refusing to give up on it no matter how hard it gets. Because even though I'm heating with candles, and that screams of crazy talk, it's still my space. It's mine. I can control my space. I can have anyone I want in my van. I usually don't, it's pretty small. But I could, because it's my space. I can decorate this van any way that I want. Barring, physical things like actually warm enough to paint the van. But, it's my space. I decide what color I want to paint it. I decide the layout. I decide the heat source. I decide the food. It's mine. And if I were to pay rent, even for a room, I lose all of that power. Now it's someone else's house. It's someone else's space. They have the key. They can enter it at any time. I am merely allowed to be there. They decide who's allowed to come and who's allowed to go. They decide the colors. They decide the decor. It's their space. They just let me stay there for a fee. They decide the food, because it's their kitchen. Etc., etc., etc. And this is why, as much as everyone thinks that they're helping me by offering me places to go, places to stay, and they think of this as homeless, the fact is this is me embracing the fact that I can control my own life. Even if I'm starting small, this is a step towards that, towards empowering myself to take control of my own life, to be the one who's responsible for my own life. If I get myself into a rut and get myself into a mess, and things blow up, it's nobody's fault but mine. And that is power, believe it or not. So, where am I going with that? I don't know. I guess that's part of the process, is I'm rolling that around in my brain. And I gotta tell you, it tastes delicious. It tastes better than my spinach and kale. It feels good. And I know that everyone wants to help me. Help me. And that everyone's heart is in the right place. I need to be here, doing this. You want to help? You know what? Let's start a piggy bank for my wood stove. If you want to help me with my wood stove before winter comes. Before winter really comes and sinks its teeth in. But don't try to take me out of my space, because I need to be here. This is part of my growth and part of my healing. So, on that note, what are you doing for your healing and your growth? Because nobody ever stops. We're always moving forward. So, let me know what you're doing for your growth and your healing and your next steps to become more and more you. And as always, please stay out of trouble and have a good day.